This story is titled, "My Stepdaughter Stole My Identity to Scam Men for $3,000 in Gifts. Then they showed up at my door and had her charged." I'm a 34-year-old woman, and for the past 5 years, I've been married to my husband, who's 38. He has a 16-year-old daughter, Kay, from his first marriage. Kay lives with us most of the time, and I've genuinely tried my best to be a good stepmom. Like most teens her age, she's obsessed with trendy clothes, gadgets, and all the latest must-haves. We provide for her needs, but both my husband and I agree on not giving in to every whim. No brand new iPhones or $300 sneakers just because she wants them. Kay hasn't been happy about that, and we chalked it up to typical teenage attitude. But a few weeks ago, strange packages started arriving at our house. Boxes addressed to me filled with things I never ordered. At first, I thought it was some kind of delivery mix-up. The first box had a luxury wallet inside with a note that read, "Can't wait to finally meet you in person. Love, M." I was confused and a little unsettled. I asked my husband if he knew anything about it, but he was just as baffled. We figured maybe a friend had sent a surprise, but it didn't fit any of my friendships. Then more packages kept coming. Designer shoes, high-end makeup, jewelry, a fancy headset. All expensive items, each one accompanied by a little note. "Hope you enjoy this. From B." I was growing more alarmed with every delivery. My husband made an awkward joke about me having a secret admirer. He was clearly uncomfortable, but said he trusted me, and we both agreed I wasn't doing anything to encourage this. That's when I started suspecting Kay. The gifts seemed more like things a teenage girl would be into than something for a 34-year-old woman. Plus, Kay had made comments before about wanting some of those exact items. So I sat her down and asked her if she knew anything about it. The second the words left my mouth, her whole demeanor changed. She went full-on defensive, snapping, "Why would I?" in that sharp teenage tone. Something felt off. Later, when Kay left her laptop bag in the living room, curiosity got the better of me. I opened it, and what I found made my stomach drop. There were multiple fake dating profiles on her screen, all using my photos and my name. She had stolen pictures from my social media and even copied personal details, our city, my love for dogs and yoga, to make her profiles more believable. She listed a fake birthday to make herself seem like a single woman in her 30s. Reading through those flirty conversations with men made me sick. Kay had been catfishing people online, pretending to be me. And those packages? They were for men she tricked into thinking they were in a relationship with me. She'd given them our home address so they could send gifts and money. It got worse. I discovered she'd set up a secret PayPal account and convinced a few men to send her cash transfers. In just 2 months, she'd raked in over $3,000. Amazon gift cards, Visa gift cards, she had it all. Then came the part that truly terrified me. She'd used my full name, address, and possibly my social security number to apply for at least 2 credit cards online. One was a store credit card. I even found a printed approval email with my information on it. I was absolutely floored. This wasn't some harmless teenage prank. This was identity theft and fraud. Not only was she jeopardizing my credit and financial security, but she had also given strangers my real name and home address. I felt violated and furious. When I confronted Kay with all the evidence, she didn't even try to apologize. She crossed her arms, shrugged, and said, "I needed the money. Dad wouldn't buy me the stuff I wanted, and it's not like you were using those pictures or that credit line." I lost it. I yelled that she was risking my safety and could have ruined my life. She shouted back that I wouldn't understand and that it wasn't a big deal because she was just borrowing my image. It turned into a screaming match. My husband came in to break it up, but instead of fully supporting me, he slipped into protective dad mode. "She's only 16, he said. She didn't realize how serious this was. It's just teenage stupidity." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told him this wasn't about grounding or taking away her phone. This was federal-level crime. Our address was out there. Who knew what kind of men she'd been talking to? Kay just rolled her eyes. "You're making a big deal out of nothing," she muttered. "Those guys are losers. Who cares?" I was going to stop once I got enough for a new phone and clothes. She even admitted she'd already bought herself a brand new iPhone with cash from one of the men. I was stunned. I've since locked down all my credit accounts and put fraud alerts in place. I forced Kay to give me access to all the fake profiles, deleted them, and even sent messages to a few of the men explaining they'd been catfished by a minor. Some of them were furious. One man demanded his money back. Now Kay's furious at me for humiliating her and ruining her scam. My husband is upset too, not at Kay, but at me. He thinks I'm overreacting and wants to handle this privately through therapy and grounding. But I don't think this can be swept under the rug. This is identity theft and fraud. What if one of these men shows up at our door? What if the credit card companies hold me responsible? I love my husband, but I don't trust Kay anymore. And the worst part? She doesn't even seem remorseful. If I report this to the police, my husband says I'd be ruining Kay's future over a mistake. But if I don't, I could be left holding the bag for her crimes. Am I the bad guy here for refusing to hush this up? The police were able to track down the first man using the information I provided. I had his first name and some details from when he came to our door, along with snippets from the messages I'd seen. I don't know yet if he plans to press charges, but he did file some kind of complaint with the police after learning the truth. A detective called us shortly after, asking for a formal statement. As for the second man, we also passed along whatever info Kay had shared, his name and city from their chats. We haven't heard whether he plans to take legal action, but at the very least, both incidents are now officially on record. This doesn't sound like normal teenage behavior at all. Where did she even learn how to pull something like this off? Was her bio mom any help? Or do you think her friends encouraged her? That's exactly what we've been wondering. So far, we haven't found any signs of her friends being involved. It seems like she ran this whole scheme on her own. As for her biological mom, we did inform her about what happened, and honestly, her reaction threw us off. She said, "Kids do crazy things. I'll talk to her." Like it was no big deal. That struck me as weirdly casual. I don't want to speculate too much, but I do know my husband's divorce from her years ago had something to do with her own issues around honesty. Not quite this level of deception, but she had some questionable habits when it came to money and integrity. It's possible Kay picked up certain attitudes from her mom that made this all seem okay in her mind. At this point, we're not ruling anything out and are staying vigilant. I wish I could say things have calmed down, but that's far from reality. The situation has escalated again, with one of the victims now threatening legal action, and my husband finally coming to grips with just how serious this fraud really is. After those two unsettling incidents of men showing up at our home, we've been in frequent contact with the police. The first man, the one who arrived with flowers, M, has been in touch with the authorities and is absolutely livid. Through both the police and our lawyer, we've learned that M is demanding compensation for the $800 he sent Kay, believing he was sending it to me. He's now threatening to sue, either me specifically or both my husband and me, for fraud or emotional distress, or something along those lines. From what I understand, M feels completely duped, and while I get why he's upset, he's aiming all that anger at me. The police explained to him that the actual scammer was a minor, without releasing Kay's name, since they're cautious with juvenile information, but that hasn't done much to calm him down. He's already hired a lawyer. When we got the call about the potential lawsuit, my husband looked like someone had dumped a bucket of ice water over his head. Until now, I think he saw the catfishing as a mess we could quietly clean up. But hearing the word lawsuit shook him to his core. He started panicking, asking what we'd do if we got sued, how much this could cost us, and whether we'd be legally responsible for paying the money back. I reminded him, this guy thinks I scammed him. He sees me as the scammer. That's why I've been so upset from the start. And finally, something seemed to click. My husband put his head in his hands and muttered, "Oh God, she basically painted a target on your back." Yes, exactly. We sat down with our lawyer, who explained the situation bluntly. If M sues us in civil court, it would likely fall on us as the adults responsible for the minor, meaning we could be on the hook for damages. The lawyer also warned us that any money Kay collected from these men could be claimed as restitution if this goes to criminal court. In total, Kay pulled in over $3,000 in cash, plus all the gifts. That's not a fortune, but it's not pocket change either, and it's money we definitely don't have lying around to pay for her mistakes. Then the lawyer dropped another bombshell. By using my personal information to open credit cards, Kay committed clear-cut identity theft and fraud. Juvenile or not, those are serious charges. If the credit card companies decide to act, they could press charges, or at least come after us for the balances. Thankfully, I caught her schemes early enough that she didn't rack up massive debts. She only spent around $200 on one card before I shut it down. But even that small amount has left a mark. My credit score dipped slightly from the hard inquiries and that unpaid balance. I'm hoping it recovers as we work this out. When my husband finally processed the credit card fraud, I saw a new level of anger cross his face. He turned to Kay, who was sitting there with her arms crossed, and asked in disbelief, "You opened credit cards in her name?" Kay just shrugged and said, "Yeah, I did. You never let me have one, and I needed it for stuff." I swear, I thought my husband's head was going to explode. He told her, "That's not how the world works. You didn't just break rules, you stole from her. You could have wrecked her credit for years." Seeing him go back and forth between fury and guilt has been exhausting. He keeps asking himself where he went wrong as a parent. I had to sit him down and remind him that minimizing what Kate did doesn't help anyone. Not her, and certainly not me. To his credit, he's no longer brushing this off as teenage mistakes. He's fully admitted this is serious now. It's a relief to have him finally on the same page, even though it's sad it took this much to get here. And the part that stings the most: she's my family. That realization cuts deep. I'm doing my best to keep a clear head, though. Right now, we're working closely with the authorities and following every bit of advice from our lawyer. At this point, I'm not really here to ask, am I the asshole? I think that part's been made pretty clear. I guess I just needed to update you all because so many people have asked, and maybe because I need to vent before I lose my mind. By the time I post another update, there's a good chance I'll have more information about whether the police decide to move forward with additional charges. And there's another angle developing, one I wasn't expecting. It involves her bio mom. Without spilling too much detail yet, my husband confronted his ex more directly this week. He'd found a suspicious text on Kay's phone from her mom. Kay had deleted most of her incriminating conversations, but there was one line that survived. "Did you get the money from that guy?" Yeah, that one sentence alone sent a chill down my spine. We're now trying to recover more of those deleted messages. If what we suspect is true, that her bio mom played a hand in encouraging all of this, then this whole thing just got way darker than I imagined. We haven't confronted her about it yet, though. Right now we're focused on gathering evidence and letting the police see it first. It's entirely possible this could end up in their hands as part of the investigation. So that's where things stand. My husband is finally not downplaying anything anymore. If anything, he's gone into overdrive trying to fix and manage this whole train wreck. And me? I just sit here shaking my head like, how the hell did my life turn into this? I'll post another update when there's something concrete to share. Has your husband thought about involving CPS regarding the mom's influence? That's definitely crossed our minds. After seeing that text, my husband was furious with his ex. We're still piecing things together because we want more evidence before pulling in CPS or the police. We've already spoken to our lawyer about it, and he told us to save everything and maybe bring it to the authorities later, especially once Kay has her own attorney and things move forward in juvenile court. If it turns out her mom did coach her through this, then honestly, I don't even have words for how messed up that is. For now, Kay isn't visiting her mom at all, not on weekends, not for anything. We insisted on that. Quick question, what about all those gifts she got? Have you sent them back, or are you holding on to them for evidence? Good question. Right now, the pile of gifts, designer bags, electronics, all of it, is still sitting in our house. Our lawyer told us to hold on to everything as evidence for the time being. I've taken photos and cataloged each item, including the creepy little love notes that came with them. If any of the victims request their stuff back through proper legal channels later, of course we'll return it. But we're not going to reach out directly ourselves right now. We have to tread carefully to avoid making any legal missteps. The past few weeks have been absolutely exhausting, but there's finally a major development. The police officially charged Kay in juvenile court. Here's how it went down. After those two men showed up at our house, one of them, the guy with the flowers, let's call him M, filed a formal report for fraud. Another victim did the same. The police didn't waste any time. Since I'd saved screenshots, fake profiles, chat logs, and we had doorbell camera footage from when the men showed up, it was easy for them to build their case. About a week ago, officers showed up at our house with a search warrant for Kay's devices. Even though we'd been cooperating, seeing them hand over that piece of paper made my stomach drop. They seized her laptop and the phone we'd already confiscated. The detectives interviewed all of us, including Kay, and my husband and I were there since she's a minor. When they asked her straight out about the scam, I kept my mouth shut and let her answer. At first, Kay admitted to most of it, but tried to downplay the situation, saying stuff like, "I wasn't trying to scam anyone. They just wanted to send gifts, and I was going to delete everything after a while." But then came the moment that made my jaw hit the floor. She tried to blame me. She said, "I only did it because OP wouldn't help me. If she had just played along and called one of those guys or something, they wouldn't have gotten mad. I could have smoothed things over." My blood boiled. I snapped. "You wanted me to participate in your fraud to cover for you? Absolutely not." The detective quickly cut in to redirect the interview, but I was seething. In the end, the juvenile division decided there was enough evidence to formally charge Kay with fraud, identity theft, and credit card fraud. We've already hired a defense attorney for her, who's working on a plea deal. Since it's her first offense and she's underage, the hope is that she'll get into a diversion program instead of detention. When we told Kay about the charges, she broke down crying. It was the first time I've seen her show real fear. Through tears, she said, "I never wanted it to go this far." I didn't sugarcoat my response. This is what happens when you impersonate someone else and steal money. Actions have consequences. Later that night, she finally apologized to me. An actual apology, not the half-hearted kind. She sobbed, "I'm sorry I did this to you." I hugged her and said, "I appreciate that. I really do. But this had to stop." It was emotional. My husband cried too. But the very next day, Kay was back to her old attitude, making comments like, "Those guys were creeps anyway. They deserved it." I had to walk away before I lost my temper. We shut that down immediately, telling her no one deserves to be lied to and stolen from. Now for the bio-mom bombshell. With the help of a tech-savvy cousin, we recovered deleted cloud backups from Kay's phone. What we found made my stomach turn. Her mom wasn't just aware of the scam, she was coaching her. In message after message, her mom gave her flirty lines to use, encouraged her to ask for specific gifts, and even reassured her about giving out our address, saying, "Don't worry, they're too far to ever show up. Just do it, it's easy money." It's sick. We handed over those messages to both our lawyer and Kay's juvenile attorney. They're hopeful it'll help her case by showing she was manipulated by a parent. It doesn't excuse what she did, but it might push the court toward rehabilitation over punishment. As for the bio-mom, my husband called her to confront her. She immediately went on the offensive, screaming that I'd poisoned Kay against her. Classic deflection. We've shared the evidence with the detective, and he said the DA might pursue charges against her too, like contributing to the delinquency of a minor. At the very least, family court may need to step in to review custody and visitation. For now, Kay is staying with us full-time. There's no way we're letting her near her mom. This whole ordeal still feels surreal. But one thing's clear, I will never let this happen again.